And we're off. Welcome, folks. You're seeing Craig Lane in the light. That's right. We're backlit tonight. We're going to do a screen share to talk about cleansing. Actually, let's go to the whiteboard first. We're going to talk about cleansing and immunity. And I love Zoom. I got this little whiteboard thing. And so welcome to this. And then we have another screen, which is, we're not going to use that right now. All right. We're going to get rid of all this stuff. How do we get rid of the right board, folks? Clear? Clear. Let's go back to the stop share. Okay, now we'll go back to screen share and screen. All right, so my website here has this little blurb that says we understand the inner transformations and work with natural forces for health. And the reason why I have this featured front and center on my website is because the guts, everything's about the gut. And as you can see in this lovely drawing here, there's all kinds of creatures, good and bad and ugly and helpful and unhelpful, that live in our gut. And cleansing is part of transforming that. It's imperative to understand the ecology down there, and the ecology is directly affected by our thoughts, our food choices, and our surroundings. So if we live next to a nuclear power plant with fungus growing all around the house and we're trying to be healthy, we're never going to be healthy because we're putting ourselves in a bad environment. Same thing with humans. If we're with toxic humans with toxic emotions and they're energy vampires and we're with them all day, every day, we're going to have a really hard time thriving. So part of those things, that's why this is here, is to remind us of the things we can control that are free with minimal effort and minimal time wasted. And that's kind of what my job is in the last 25 years. So that's why we're here, to help you cleanse and get better immunity. So on the website, this document's also available. But as we go through these, you guys can kind of see that. I have a little crowd here just kind of watching from behind. And so my system's about cleansing regularly. And some people ask, well, how much is enough? And generally, there are toxicity signs that people have, and there's a couple questionnaires that I use. I look at tongue, I look at eyes. So I won't go over that tonight necessarily about how I assess people, but I'll do that next week, next Friday. And I'll get people excited about the assessment system I use. So if I see a really chopped up tongue, all kinds of holes and cracks in it, looks purple with a big yellow coat, and the whites of the eyes are all yellow with bloodshot, and the sclera, and the iris, the colored part of the eye, has a bunch of discolorations in it and dark areas, then that person definitely needs cleansing. There would be no doubt in my mind. And I would tell that person, go get some lab work, and I will prove to you that I'm right. And that's what happens. They go and get lab work, and they go, oh my God, my blood urea nitrogen, and this is off, and this is what you said was going to happen. That's right, folks. We don't need lab work sometimes. We just need to look at the person. So that's what I spent all this 21 years doing, is telling most of us need to cleanse. And what this system I have put together here makes it easier on people. So we can address degeneration. There's a little statement here. Degeneration can be addressed and even potentially reversed in some cases by cleansing. I will address something that was a study done in Calcutta University in 1933. It appeared in Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. And it states, on the third day of fasting, the body cells begin to spontaneously regenerate. They call it autophagy now. And modern science claims they got the answer, but that's not the case. This was found out thousands of years ago by the yogis. And modern science, arrogantly claims the credit, but people have been doing this for a long time. And I've seen men in their 70s without a wrinkle on their face. That's what inspired me to become who I am, is seeing a man teaching a martial arts class at age 75 and schooling young men in the prime of their life at age 75. It was ridiculous to see as a 30-year-old man. I was afraid of this guy as a 30-year-old man, the prime of my life. It was this Taoist karate master. So I'm here to inspire you to do the same, just like this man inspired me. So the summer cleanse highlights the intestines, the heart, and the circulation. And since the weather's warm, we want more raw food. And that's one of the things we talk about, are the thermal, T-H-E-R-M-A-L, the thermal energetics of foods. Some foods are warming, some are cooling. Some are moistening, some are drying. Some bring the energy to your head, some bring it down to your tailbone. Some bring it to the periphery, some bring it deep inside your body. That's what Chinese medicine and some of the old traditions of holism taught. And that's what I spent the last 30 years practicing. And that's right, it's a practice. So if you eat raw in cold weather, you're not gonna feel so good unless it's raw meat. If you eat a lot of meat in hot weather, you're not gonna feel good either, especially cooked meat. So it's all about where we are first and foremost. So if we're in a cold climate, we're not gonna be able to eat a lot of raw food unless we have a very strong vitality, which can be measured in my system also. So what the summer season then means we can go raw, we can go fasting, we can live on water. Here in Santa Cruz with the fog, we have sort of a daily roll the dice. We never know what we're gonna get. Oh, it's 65 degrees and like winter, great. Oh, it's 90. You never know from one day to the next around here. So it's a little more difficult to plan your diet in the summer here by the coast. But if you're inland, as everybody knows, Santa Clara, San Jose, Fresno, Sacramento, you know, you're getting pretty consistent 90s every day. So it's really important to understand that the weather conditions is important, and also your vitality, as it says in, so that's why I do custom cleanses to some degree. So if you're tired, I'll talk about my vitality assessment check next week, because if you're tired, we have a way to quantify that. And it's based on a blood pressure check, a body temperature, pulses, and a photograph of your tongue. It can be done in 15 minutes. And then, because when you're tired, I remember when I was a kid, my mom would come in, I'd be tired. Clean your room. I don't want, I'm tired. That's what the cells do. The cells are like, I don't want to cleanse, I'm tired. So if you have a tired system, you're not going to cleanse. I don't care how much you want to. So it's imperative to understand that you must have vitality to cleanse. And if you have low vitality, then you set lower goals for your cleanse. It's imperative to understand that, because a lot of people go into a cleanse and they end up miserable because they didn't check ahead of time the parameters they needed to check. Let's get this thing out of here. Okay. Wait, this guy wants to get in. Dean, I cannot get in. Uh-oh. Okay, let's see what happened here. Meeting. So I'm gonna have to turn off the screen share for a second. Sorry, it looks like I thought I turned off the waiting room. Yeah, well, that's too bad. Okay, back to the screen share. If somebody wants to text him back, let's say, just tell him to try again, because it's the same link. There's nothing I can do to help him. You say it's the same link. So we're going to move on to the next slide, because we're recording all this, and I don't want to. So basic cleansing rules. There were some questions today in the household, so I'm going to go through these, and that way everybody can watch the recording. So there's some basic cleansing rules if you want to cleanse. Generally, heated oils are off the table. So I like to cook my steak or my food in a little bit of ghee. I'll be cooking it in water. I know this because I used to be in cancer therapy in the 90s. And if you had cancer back in the macrobiotic days, you were not allowed to fry any oils at all. As a matter of fact, extracted oils were off the table for cancer patients. And I agree with that 100%. But I'm a little more lenient with cleansing because we don't have cancer patients cleansing here. And it's generally better to, if you're going to heat oils, you're going to stop or slow down your cleansing, because it's a big burden on the liver and the pancreas. Don't eat late. It's another good cleanse rule. If you eat late, you're going to be laying in bed with food potentially rotting in your gut all night. Not very skillful if you're trying to cleanse. And I'm a hypocrite because I often work hard all day and I eat too much too late. So one of the things that works well for me for cleansing is to force myself out of that pattern. See, everything I'm setting here is easily controlled by you. Drink half your body weight, drink water at half your body weight. So I weigh about 180 pounds. That's 90 ounces of water a day, about 3 quarts. Doesn't have to be water. It could be herbal tea, could be juice, vegetable juice. Next one, alcohol, coffee, caffeine, better not have. So alcohol is obvious. Coffee and caffeine, let's talk about for a second, because a lot of people don't know this perspective. And I'm a plant person, so I'll tell you the plant perspective. Why do plants make caffeine? They're not here to make caffeine for human pleasure. That's not why plants are making caffeine, folks. So why are they making it? They're making it because it's an insecticide. They don't want to be killed and eaten. So we have a world of people who somehow believe that caffeine is making them more productive when it's a poison. So I use it too, but I use it with the conscious knowing that it's a poison, and I use it very lightly. So I don't let it use me. So caffeine is better left out during a cleanse. Every single quote unquote enlightened master and cleansing master I studied with over the last 25 years is in agreement on that. Coffee and caffeine pretty much have no place during a cleanse. In America, we have green tea as antioxidants and polyphenols. And so if you want some green or black tea, big deal, you know, you just neutralize it with other things. But generally, if you want to cleanse deeper, stay off caffeine. That's one of those that's kind of not negotiable. No foods made from flour. This is a big, huge one for people. Huge. No foods made from flour. I mean, look at the American diet. Bread, pasta, cookies, crackers, cake. Can anybody help me here?
Cereal.
Cereal. Rice cakes. Yeah, there's so many things in the American diet made from ground flour. And the thing that really strikes me is Alice Waters opened a restaurant called Chez Panisse in Berkeley in the 70s. And one of the premises of opening that restaurant was fresh food only. And so if you don't have fresh ground flour being made into a baked product, I don't care how healthy you think it is, it's not. You have a week. Once you grind wheat or rice or anything into a flour, you have a week to make it into something. And we knew that over 100 years ago, but the powers that be buried it. That's why we have white flour, because 100 years ago, people were stone grinding their bread in their stone grinders and making bread right away with it. And then they started centralizing the milling process, and the flour would sit for months. And 100 years ago, people would eat this bread from the stale flour, and they would start complaining. And that's one of the reasons they made white flour. You don't hear about that now. But they knew this 100 years ago. And they would take out everything that's good in the grain and then add back synthetic vitamins that they already just took out. It's totally absurd. So don't have flour products if you want to cleanse. It causes mucus and it causes inflammation in the gut and in the arteries. That is why people have high cholesterol, is rancid flour oils. Number one cause of high cholesterol. Number one, not saturated fat and protein. That is wrong and incorrect. It's from vegetable oils that have gone rancid. That was the little trick of the 20th century there. Some people do okay with dairy. So generally, the only dairy that I like to see on a cleanse, just from sheer results, is raw butter, maybe some ghee, and raw milk kefir and raw milk yogurt. And these are for people that have low weight. If you're trying to lose weight, stay the hell away from this stuff. Use olive oil in small amounts if you want to cleanse. And it depends if you're a protein type on one side or a carbohydrate type on another. Because if you're a protein type, then you will lose weight having lots of butter without carbs, though. If you have butter and carbs, you're screwed. So you can have all the butter you want, but no carbs with it. If you're a protein type that likes fat for energy. Another question that often comes up is animal protein. Can I do it on a cleanse? So I'm going to go to the basic food chart real quick. Jump there. And if you look on the right-hand side here, you'll see meat as on the list. On the far right, meat, yogurt, kefir, whey protein, organ meats, eggs, sprouts, sea vegetables. So I would suggest if you're going to do animal protein and it's foggy by the coast, or you need some vitality or feeling tired and you need to get through a busy day. One woman used to have 12 hard-boiled eggs in her fridge. And that for her, when her vitality dropped on the cleanse, she would just eat a hard-boiled egg and her energy would surge back up. That's a pretty good strategy. For me, I'll do a raw egg cocktail. I'll just get my glass here, put 2 raw eggs, a little sauerkraut juice, gulp it down. That's the best way to have animal protein, is raw, including raw meat, raw chicken, raw fish, all of it. Yes, that's right. I did say raw chicken. That's from sheer results. Don't believe the hype about the germ theory. Okay, coming back. So if you want animal protein, best left to a minimum. Me personally, I'm already shifting from August 1st out of some animal protein into a little lighter diet. The weather's been warmer. And you can do a little sear, like it says in the food chart here, if you're going to have, just sear it on both sides a little bit, leave a little raw in the middle. I don't like raw meat, so I'll be honest. And there's another long conversation about, what the hell is Craig talking about eating raw meat? There's a long conversation about that in a lot of context. So we'll come back to that later. Oils. If you're going to do any extracted oils, which I don't suggest on a cleanse, they need to be raw, virgin, unrefined, and organic. If you don't see the words raw, virgin, or unrefined, the oil is not raw. Expeller pressed is not raw. It's a heated oil. So it needs to be raw, virgin, unrefined, and organic ideally. So I usually say olive oil is usually okay. Raw butter, sesame oil, flax, hemp, they're on the basic food chart. So we'll go back to that real quick. Basic food chart. Oils and fats. So there you go. Virgin coconut oil, hemp seed, flax, cod liver oil, unrefined sesame, and raw butters or cultured butter. And that's another little conversation, but I'm going to go really fast here.
Craig, you're muted. Craig.